Welcome back to Blinky's Guitar Dungeon, which is in the long drawn-out process of being renovated a bit. I made a video about it, and it was so bad that I deleted it. So we're not going to see that one. Of course, with me, you haven't heard from me for a little while, and part of it is my, end of summer going back to work thing. Right in the middle of which I had a, whole, but in any case, I'm feeling much better now. We're going to start getting some things done. I do have some developments, and some shout outs, and of course I haven't written anything down, so you know that I'm going to mess this up horribly, but hey, we're all friends, so, or at least we like each other. So many things to talk about. I guess one of the first things that I want to talk about is a little giveaway I'm going to do, and it's not really a contest, and it's not really a contest per se. I'm not trying to make a bunch of people do a bunch of things when we already have a bunch of things to do. Trust me, I know how that is. Randy, that black hairy possum thing, I'm actually, wow. I looked up the Tony Rice lesson, and I'm working on that, okay? But in one of these days you might see it out of me, but I'm not going to do it until I do it. But okay, that's thank you, Randy. When I first started getting kind of involved in this guitar community and the things that were going on in it, and before I started making videos of my own, such as they are, I was kind of getting drawn into the spectacle of the Tonewood debate, if not the actual debate itself, because I know what I think, and it doesn't matter if anybody agrees. About that time is when, in the Tonewood debate, is when I ran into Duncan at DKG Customs, and I was looking at what he was doing, and I started corresponding with him a little bit electronically, just talking. Back then, when the Tonewood debate was really raging, it was apparent that that Dunk was going through a period where he wasn't happy. Duncan wasn't happy, and my heart just went out to him, because I was very deep into a period of my own life that the trials we face, what can I say? I'm not going to get into all that, but anyway, I wanted to reach out to him, and I wanted to do something, and what I did, well, there's a story that leads up to what I did, and this happened the year prior. I was doing what I do. I was at a Correctional Education Association national convention, which was being held at a very nice resort and casino down in southern Louisiana, and very close to a couple of their prisons down there, and one of them being Angola, which is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Angola prison, but it's if you've heard of the one that's out in the middle of the swamp and surrounded by alligators and other wildlife, and that's where they keep the hardcore lifers and anyone else who isn't going anywhere ever, and then another not quite as high security prison just down the way from it, and that's where I was, and I was there. I got there early in order to visit the facility, and but more importantly, become a spectator in their annual prison rodeo. Now, listen, if you've never, there are some things that, in my mind, are probably incomparable to anything else that you will ever see, and you can't really say, oh, it's like this, only more so. And one of those things is a prison rodeo. If You know, seriously, now that I think about it, there's a song in that I need to write. And I'm sure that at some point I will. Um, but but I made some friends down there amongst the prison staff. You know, I mean, the people down there who do in their prisons the same thing that I do up here in our prisons. You know, we got along pretty well, and one of them gave me a handful of these. These are ashtrays. Now, in Louisiana, their license plates are actually still made by those inmates down there in the swamp, surrounded by alligators and unfriendly people with rifles and pistols and shotguns. And when in Louisiana, when the old plates are retired, they are sent back to that same prison, and they chop the ends off of them and make an ashtray, put a sticker on the back of it, and it is a useful product ready to go out and serve its purpose in the world. But to me, this is a symbol, because I've been down there, and in lots of other prisons, and you know, the people who made this license plate the first time around, those people were having a really shitty day. And the people who had to take it and chop it up and turn it into an ashtray and slap a sticker on the back of it, I'm willing to bet you that their day was probably pretty shitty too. Now, and I had this particular one. See the stain? The stain is from when I stained that fretboard. I'm going to give this one away as well. I'm going to keep one for myself. Maybe I should keep the stained one. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But in any case, when I started going through my stuff, there are some times when I would be just having a really shitty day, and I would pick this thing up and I would look at it. Actually, it wasn't this one, it was another one very similar. And I would think about the guys who had made this thing, and you know, strangely enough, it actually made me feel a little better. So when I unpacked from that trip finally, I had actually still had a few that I'd tucked back and forgotten about, and I found one, and I said, man, you know what, I need to send this to Duncan. Just, you know, here, if somebody's thinking about you, you know, just a kind of a reach out thing. And then, you know, and he, you know, did an unboxing or, you know, viewer mail thing, and it was in, you know, it was in there. But the other day, I actually was unpacking some other stuff out of my van, and I found a couple more. And so, and I thought, well, you know, I really only need, you know, the one upstairs, the one that I usually, you know, that was the one that I used to look at. And so I thought, well, I have 3 more of these things, and I think I'm gonna have a shitty day giveaway. So, you know, if you would like to have one of these hard luck ashtrays from the swampy Louisiana prison system, just post a short video about your shitty day, and somewhere, and just somewhere, you know, in the title of it, say Blinky's challenge, or shitty day for Blinky, or, well, you know, whatever. Just, you know, just some indication that you know, that this is why you're doing it, and I will and the first 3 I will mail an original Department of Corrections hard luck ashtray, so that the next time you're having a really shitty day, you can pick this thing up and think that maybe it isn't quite so bad. Have you heard the blockbuster new soundtrack by the 11th Hour Initiative entitled The Only Way Out Is Through? Ah, man, a lot to say about that one. I purchased it. It wasn't incredibly expensive. I think I threw in a few extra dollars for the Iron Maiden artwork video because that was, because I asked for that one and he did it, so I consider that one actually mine. So I purchased it and it was downloadable in several formats. I downloaded it as a WAV file. It was delivered as a industry standard 44.1 kilohertz. The bit depth was 24 instead of the standard 16, which I appreciated, and which I think is more important than the actual than whether it's 44.1 or 48 or 96K or whatever. I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm stumbling all over it. Not the bit depth, thank you, sample rate. Anyway, so it's been a long day. I had a strong urge to just take the WAV file and just throw it up in my DAW and look at it before I ever even listened to it, and I decided that was completely unfair, and that what I really needed to do was just to I got out my good Sennheiser 280 HD Pros that I mixed with and ran them through the headphone app, and got the best headphone setup that I'm able to scratch up over here. The first thing I noticed was that when I started it off, that I had some pretty generous gain to begin with, and I noticed that the noise floor was very low. It's before anything starts, you notice that it's a very clean stereo field. It took me a little bit to get used to the way it was coming at me. I was kind of wondering when is the music part going to start. Although I had heard some music in there, I kept having this sense of waiting for some kind of a tangible beginning. I wasn't finding it. I think my initial listen would have been helped had I known ahead of time that I was listening to a soundtrack. But it was interesting to hear it and not know. I think the way much of it was recorded is pretty unique and well done. Of course, I mean, you can hear that. You can hear some of that little red Les Paul in there, and of course you can hear 6. Apparently, Bill was over on the American side shouting, "More xylophone!" Now that I know what it is, and of course I did watch the whole, I don't know, hour and a half, however long that thing was, the movie. It was, as an experience, it was interesting. It was interesting to listen to. It was well done. I will say that my favorite track off of it is the most traditional, I mean the one that is with floodlights. And I think, not that I would say that it is superior to everything else on the soundtrack, just that it is structured in the way that I'm most comfortable with, I guess you'd say. And so I liked it. It was well done. Solid 7. Oh, Solid 7. Listen, Bill, you should consider that for a name. There was a guitar called a Solid 7 that one of the Beatles had. Real cheap guitar. Somebody made it. Egmond. Oh, and also it's also what they call the, okay, if you look at a crowd of girls and they range from the most beautiful to the maybe not, um, and in amongst there are a bunch of girls that could be considered a solid 7. Now, that's what we also used to call cowboy cute, because you know cowboys, they aren't that picky. To wrap it up, I did. I liked it. I felt like I got my money's worth. I felt like it was well done. I felt like it's an interesting thing to know as much about what it is and how it was done as I do. It's I think I think part of what makes art truly interesting in all of its forms is the degree to which we get to participate in it. Well, I've heard it said that if you maybe it was on the guitar. Maybe, you know what? I may be stealing somebody's stuff from the guitar community. I don't know, but I know that it seems like sometime recently, in the last year or two, I've heard the statement regarding art that when you're trying to decide whether a thing is or is not art, that all you have to do is decide whether or not the question, "What does it mean?" you need to decide if that's a stupid question or not. If the answer to "what does it mean," or if the question "what does it mean" is a stupid question, then it's not art. And if the question "what does it mean" is not a stupid question, then it at least has a very high potential of being art, or perceived by some as being art. I have something I want to show you. Check this out. Ah. Hmm. Ooh, look at that flame. Tunematic bridge. Humbuckers. Three-way. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank God it's an Epiphone. I've been wanting one of those for a while. You want to know why? Here's why. Why do I want a red Les Paul? You know, I wanted a red one because anytime that anybody ever impressed me with a Les Paul in their hands, I mean, back in when I was young, it seemed like they always had a red one. You mean, here goes, you know, Pete Townsend with his Les Paul, boom, red. Here goes Eric Clapton with his Les Paul, boom, red. And here goes Dickie Betts with his Les Paul, boom, red. And, you know, Sammy comes along, of course, boom, red. You know, and now, I mean, here comes number 6, wearing that Elmer Fudd hat, boom, red Les Paul. I've been wanting a red Les Paul for a while. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. The one of those, of all of those, the one that appeals to me the most is that Sammy Hagar Les Paul. And I'm going to make mine look a bit like that. Now, I'll tell you, when I got that, and I knew when I changed the pickups out that they would go from the gold covers to just a black humbucker, because that, you know, that's that Sammy Hagar kind of look that I'm going for. Now, it's not going to be exactly like his. Well, first of all, I'm not putting the alien head sticker on mine. Your Seymour Duncan hot rodded humbucker set has one semi-hot rodded humbucker and a jazz pickup, which actually is precisely what I want. And so I've got the box sitting up there, and so I've got the pickups sitting in the box. we'll put those in. I'm going to change out the pots. We're going to do the red Les Paul. I haven't done anything else on the Transfender, and I haven't done anything else physically. I haven't done anything else on the Stratophone. Now the Stratophone is going to be, I've already got the pickup layout done. I've already got some of the design done. The Stratophone is going to be a cool ass guitar. And I am going to give it to one of my subscribers. It's going to have a gold humbucker in the bridge, and it's going to have a gold lipstick tube pickup in the neck. And I've already got both of these picked out. This is a combination that I think is awesome. It's going to be a singer. It's going to be the Stratophone is going to be a nice guitar. And but also the Transfender. Now let me tell you, physically the Transfender hasn't moved from where it was, you know. But I'll tell you, first of all, the body is going to be, well, it's going to be pink, and I'm trying to make it, I want to make it a pearlescent pink. And the scratch plate, the Fender pick guard, the only way I'm going to get the pick guard to fit the way that I want it to is to paint it on. So it's going to be, I'm looking at pearlescent pink with a pearlescent white scratch plate, okay? And the headstock, which will be a Fender headstock, will be the same pearlescent pink as the body, and it will have a white mother of pearl truss rod cover. I'm going to put a truss rod cover on this one. I don't know how many knobs I'm going to put. Now here's my plan. I was only going to put one volume, one tone, and a three-way, and just let it be what it is. Figuring that whoever was playing it would probably just run one pickup at a time anyway. That's really kind of the way it's designed. But also because the control knobs, and I'm going to hand make the base of the control knobs, but for the tactile surface, I'm going to use medical grade silicone rubber nipples, so that you can have a nice squishy little nipple to grab onto. Nice positive control movements. You know, your fingers won't slip off of there. So, and that's going to be, but the truth is, you know, I can see where you can make a good argument that you should have two volume and one tone and a three-way. I don't know. You guys chime in. Do you think the guitar should have three nipples? I mean, I don't know. I was thinking, you know, I would make it a normal Transfender guitar and just have two nipples like all the other ones. I didn't want to make it feel like a freak. But you guys chime in and let me know. There's no telling. It could be different. But in any case, yeah, it's so one's going to be pink and pearl. One's going to be black and gold. And so, because you can go transgender either way, right? So that's how it's going to be. The Stratophone is going to be a kind of a macho Transfender guitar, and the Transfender is going to be a more, you know, dainty one. I did get the motorcycle done, and it looks pretty decent. I'll show you the workbench later that I'm working on. I haven't finished building it. It's already covered up with crap. Be well.